Viewers, welcome again. I am Omar Wali, and with me is the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, Honorable Bakary Badjie. Well, I will not waste too much time on the issues. As you all know, what has been ongoing recently, the diem scandal has been, that has been ongoing. So, Honorable, thank you so much for your time. I know this is just a brief request, and you just granted this interview. So, tell us what exactly happened. This whole diem issue, your wife was involved. They said, she was paid £200 per day when she did not travel to UK, but she went to Turkey. How did it all start?
Well, yeah, good evening to the people watching, it's good to be here. Actually, let me just make this clear. I did say that I wasn't really going to talk much about this issue because just an hour or 2 hours ago, I decided to issue a press statement, a personal statement for that matter, not an official statement, just to explain everything and make things clear so that the people understand. And it's of course, before I get into that, and it's meant to reassure people that have high trust and confidence in me that I am the same person that they know, and nothing has changed as far as I'm concerned. Administratively, things do happen, and I think this is one of those that one would think you're using your best judgment to do what is right, and then eventually it turned out to be something different. So the Commonwealth Games, just like the Olympic Games, are two events that happen every 4 years, and then by designation, the Commonwealth or the Olympics Committee would invite ministers, and then there are some that they would call accompanying guests or special guests. So these letters have been on. The letter came in to the GNOC sometime, I think in January or so, and then later on there was another one that came through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, inviting me and a special guest, and then a delegate. And according to the designation, special guests are either the spouse of the minister and then the spouse of the GNOC president, and then the spouse of the Secretary General of the GNOC. So these are designated they're given, and they are accorded that privilege to have. So the letter came, forms were issued, we filled the forms, send them back, and then the formal invitation came clearly on with my name as minister, and then my wife as accompanying guest, the GNOC president and accompanying guest, the Secretary General of the GNOC and accompanying guest. And it's not unique to Gambia, it's all over all the countries that are part of the Commonwealth or those that go to the OIC, to the Olympics. So last year it didn't happen because of the COVID, and then the Olympics. So when these letters came, we acted on them. Everybody knows there is a differentiation between administrative work, which is headed by the permanent secretary, and policy issues, which are for the minister. Administrative things, accounting issues, admin issues are handled by the PS and the deputies and the people that are with him. So the idea has been that the GNOC takes charge as they organize. They have their budget. OIC supports the events through the GNOC. So the GNOC puts in some money, and government also committed some money into one basket. And once the funds were there, then it is time to facilitate the athletes, the officials, the coaches, and everybody who is supposed to go. And this is what happened. So the government put in their money, and then the GNOC, and everybody who was supposed to be paid was paid. And again, per diems are not monies that people put on their pocket, or allowances are not money that you put in your pocket. It's money that is meant to take care of your accommodation in a hotel and your feeding. And that's what they did to everyone who is going, so that you can be able to take care of yourself. And that's exactly what the payment is about. As far as I know, I have always insisted on doing the right things. If you talk to the ministry, people at the ministry, they will tell you, since I was appointed, I uphold the same beliefs that I have, that things that are not right, things that are wrong. And everybody in the ministry knows that. So, but if it is an entitlement and it's something that the people who are there see to be in line, and that this is a normal thing, and I have seen it also, that even in the Birmingham Games, there were ministers who came with their wives, and there are other people who came with their wives, and it's a simple thing. So she was paid, she didn't go. Per diems or allowances are not paid after the event, they are paid prior to the event. And the issue of the payments happened before, because once you are ready to go, then they pay you before you go. So I know people were confusing, oh, why did she get paid when she didn't go? She was paid before the issue of the visa came.
Okay.
Her visa was delayed, and then it spent a lot of passports there, just like what happened to Gina and others. And Gina was important. We all have to fight for Gina to come. For others, we can excuse them. They don't have to. So I told her to go and withdraw her passports, that it is no longer necessary. Yeah. But by that time already the payment had been done, and then she came to Turkey. And then when she came, we know she spent a few days before we came back. I didn't spend the whole time in Turkey. And we were going to refund part of the money because she was paid that duration, she didn't stay. But the rest of it, definitely, it was deserved, and it was paid from the GNOC, not even government. This basket of funds that funded the Birmingham and the Konya. It was government and GNOC funds. So this is, in summary, what I can explain, that this is what has happened. There is no stealing. There's nobody who said, invite my wife by force. I did not tell anybody pay her by force. No, it is the people that are responsible that said everyone who is a delegate is supposed to be paid. And eventually they paid.
So, like you said, you intended to return the money, but why did it take you so long for you to return them, for your wife to say, okay, because I did not attend the event in UK, here is that portion, take it back to the ministry or to the rightful authorities?
No, the Birmingham's games ended on the 9th. And then I had a meeting. My last meeting in Birmingham was with the Minister of Africa, who is in UK. Because again, maybe this is important to also say this. What people see on TV is not what happens. That's the only thing that happens in this event. Yeah. There is a lot of activities that happens around events. You have side meetings, you have conferences that take place. So in the event, in the Commonwealth Games, we have the high-level meeting. We had the sport ministers, Commonwealth sport ministers meeting. We had the meeting on anti-doping. And then eventually I had my last meeting with the Minister for Africa, Vicky, on the 8th of August. And that's the day I left to go to Konya. So she joined us in Konya. The delegation from Konya actually came back this morning. Of course, she came earlier before, but the delegation from Konya, the whole event ended on Friday, and the delegation left yesterday, and they arrived here this morning. So everything about the GNOC is with Mr. Jane, who is the team manager in Konya, and they arrived this morning. So like I said, the controversy has happened. Somebody decided to take out that document, thinking it's an illegal thing, just like how majority of the people think. But the people that are responsible at the ministry level, at the GNOC level, have seen it to be a proper thing and in line with practices, and that is why we accepted it. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to put myself into any situation that is going to cause the situation that I am now. I have always avoided that in the last almost 2 years that I've been minister.
Do you think this has is kind of politically motivated? Because suddenly you have opponents in other places to leak these documents and say, okay, this is Bakary also is engaging in such activity.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know what the motive of the person is when the person leaked the document, but the unfortunate thing here is the country have gone to a level where people want to politicize everything and make it look bad. And if they see somebody that they want to damage, they can. And they maybe were looking for an opportunity that they never got, and then this one became something that they can think, oh, now it's his wife involved, so we can be able to use it to tell the people that maybe what he pretends or what he shows out there is not what he is, or whatever. I don't know. Now, politically, yes, we know our institutions have staffs. Some of them are civil servants, they're public servants. Some of them might be sympathetic to the government. Some of them might be sympathetic to the opposition. And you will not be able to know. Of course, sometimes we know who is who. Who is supporting what based on what has happened in the past. Now, would that be a motivation why anybody would leak an official document? I don't think that's right. Because, again, if you see something wrong, you can be a whistleblower all you want. But maybe try to inquire what was the process that was undertaken. Again, people said, oh, it's stealing. Okay. Now, if somebody is definitely hell-bent on taking money, government money, or taking any money that is public money, you would make it in such a way that people are not going to find it. But this one, the letter was from the ministry, signed by a deputy permanent secretary. Before that, there was a budget from the GNOC, submitted for the entire event in Birmingham and in Konya. One budget that covered everything. And government looked at the budget and said, this is what we're committing. The GNOC put in about 4 million or so to cover the cost of the two events. And the funds are managed at the GNOC level. From the beginning, the budget covered all these issues. And people at the NSC knew about it. People at the ministry saw the budget before it was discussed upon, and then what we were able to fund, we funded. When eventually it was concluded, the letter that came from the ministry, like I said, signed by the DPS, was sent to the GNOC president. And then we copied the department and copied the National Sport Council. If it is illegal, or somebody suspects it is illegal, you can just send a letter to the GNOC and don't copy the other institutions. And the other institutions, even if they know, they wouldn't worry because the letter never came to them. That letter that was leaked out was leaked from one of the institutions that was copied, which is the National Sport Council, because you can see the stamp there, received on the 3rd of August by the National Sport Council. And you can see a CC underneath, there is a CC, ED, NSC. So if it is something is clandestine or there is a secret behind it, why would we copy all these relevant institutions? So I know people have their perception, but I just want to say clearly that if you want to do something wrong, you don't copy a relevant institution, you copy it to just limited to just one or two institutions and not all the other institutions that we copy. That tells you there was a transparent thing and everybody believed it was right.
So was this the first time that your wife was accorded an invitation to attend an event?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Because like I said, it's just two events that I know: Olympics and the Birmingham and Commonwealth.
So there are issues that you said you consult. Do you feel that some people in your institution misled you in this whole thing? Because telling you no is normal, is a normal thing that you can go with your wife and so on.
No.
Do you feel that they have not been honest with you?
No, I don't think they were being dishonest.
Okay.
And like I said, because I have seen it myself, Commonwealth has no interest in Gambia.
Yeah.
They don't. Probably by the time they were even writing that letter, they did not even know who maybe is the minister or the minister's wife or the GNOC president or the wife or whatever. They don't know that. It's a normal procedure that they do.
No, what I mean at the local level here, because when this issue when the issue came, you had two minds. Like, okay, should I go ahead or not? You consulted one or two people or three, and most of them told you it is normal. These are the people I'm referring to.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they misled me.
Okay.
Because I cannot be misled by everyone at the ministry and at the GNOC. Okay. If people within the ministry have an interest to mislead me, I don't think the GNOC will do that. But, and again, like I said, the inclusion, there are two aspects. The invitation as an accompanying guest and the payment of the allowance. Now, people said, oh, well, the inclusion as an accompanying guest is not wrong, but the payment of the allowance is wrong. And that's the same issue because all of them took through a normal process. Can she be paid allowances? People in government do say when you invite somebody as a delegate, even if the person is not a civil servant, but as far as he's part of the delegation, they get paid. But like I said, this again, we did not treat it strictly as a government entire issue, even though in government it happens, but we did not treat it as an entire government thing because it was two funds that came together. And the GNOC have agreed that this is a normal thing for them to do. Now, will the president and the spouse, the secretary general and the spouse, it's a normal thing. And we were in Birmingham and we saw ministers come in with their spouses, even in the event, the opening, because they give you an accreditation. I've opened the invitation before you get your visa, you have an accreditation. Accreditation was given to everybody. When we arrived for the opening of the event, they brought two special invitations. And the other people that came from the ministry or from the Gambia have different ministers are sitting somewhere else and the other people sit somewhere. They brought two, one for the minister and the other one for their accompanying guests. And all the ministers that were there also have their tickets for their accompanying guests. My wife was in there, so I gave my special invitation to Marcel to sit with me. So that tells you that it was a normal thing that has been happening and nothing hidden was there.
So how soon or when will you return this money? And how much is the money that you return back?
No, but tomorrow we will. I mean, it's not very difficult. And again, it's not because people said things about payments and all that. No. Yesterday, I spent most part of the time, people of course were calling, because of the fact that something went out there that have tainted an image or have something about my credibility as a person. Some people were not happy with it, some people were disappointed, other people reached out to try to get information about what happened, and I explained. But beyond that, I did wider consultations, more than I did when I was, when this whole thing was on. With the problem and the way it appeared, I spoke with people and said, well, this is the situation, what would you advise? And people said, there were different opinions. Some people were saying, well, if you're a civil servant, you can be paid. Some people say, well, it does happen. But, in the end, I made up my mind to say the whole issue is two. I know we are clean. I know the ministry did not do something that will be fraud. And I know GNOC also would not tell me this is the right thing and it's wrong. And in fact, how do we differentiate? Yeah. Is it government money that was used to pay? Yes. But GNOC money is there. Where is the dividing line between what belongs to government and what belongs to the GNOC? Because the letter, if you read it, says it's clear. This is a budget support. It did not say to finance this whole thing. Budget support is you already have your budget. This is how much we're contributing towards the budget, and the expense is global. So tomorrow we return the money. The decision is a family issue because this is about me and my wife. Okay. And then we have decided that the right thing to do is to take it back, so that we are all out of this issue. And again, this is not even the first time personally I'm returning money to government. And like I said, this is happening the weekend. Tomorrow when I get to the office, I'll try to get all those receipts back. I have returned money of government last year. This year I have returned money of government. And my motivation for working for government is not money. It's a passion that I have, it's a sector that I have been in. And so when I know this is not mine, I don't take it. If it is mine, I take it. If there is any balance, I return it. So anybody you talk to in the accounts of the ministry, my deputy permanent secretary, they know that even if there was a time I traveled and then I was giving some money, I came back, I spent less days because we concluded what we were doing and I didn't want to stay there for that. I asked them to change my ticket. They changed my ticket and I returned, and I refunded the other days that I didn't spend there. And they were saying, oh, well, this is not it's normally not, you don't have to return this. And I said, no, I just want to return it because it is not mine. And anytime you deposit money into the central bank, they give you a receipt. Yeah. I have the receipt. I've told my guys, I said, tomorrow, I will bring it out so that people will see that way before all of this thing, I have returned government money. This year also the same situation has happened. In fact, this year, it was an urgent trip. And then before I went, because it was urgent, I was in pay. When I came back, I said, well, I spent less days than anticipated, so just pay me for the days that I spent there and not the other days. And Treasury said, no, we cannot do that because the approval from OP said this. And I said, well, this is the days that I spent, and said you have to write an authorization to say you don't want to be paid the number of days that is on the letter, you want to be paid less. And the DPS wrote that letter, and Treasury have it. So this is just to show that I am not really what some people think. And I know some people want to make this political because they have always insisted, on giving me a wrong image way back from the time I was running for mayor, even though they have nothing against me from the beginning to now. I've seen people talk about things that are not real. Even the house that I have in the US, people talk about it. That house, I got it before I was minister, but some people who have a personal agenda find out where it is, took a picture of it, and put it on Facebook and made YouTube and said he stole government money and bought that house. I mean, these are things that they have started a propaganda against me for their own reasons, which I don't know why, but I have tried to maintain my integrity and do what I believe is the right thing. Would I make mistakes? Yes, I will. If I make mistakes, I own it and say, well, I've made a mistake and I'm ready to rectify it. And this is one of those things that, based on advices of technicians and people I believe are right, we acted, and then it turned out that it is different. We will rectify it by returning the money and do the right thing, and then we move on.
Another concern is, people, most of the times, your critics said, you spend too much time, for example, 14 days in, from the Commonwealth Games to these Islamic Games, like 14 days. Yeah. And when there are other important matters, the issue of youth, the issue of other football and other activities, what do you say to that? Why? And even the African Cup of Nations, they said you spend too much time there.
Okay, the African Cup of Nations, yes, I've seen a particular account that wasn't, it's just somebody create an account, use whatever name, and wrote about it. I can tell you, I even know who the person is anyway, but it's, it's not important. AFCON is a different thing altogether. The days, I did not spend the entire time in AFCON. It's not real. When AFCON was opening, I was not there. I was here in Banjul. I went, that's why I missed Gambia's first game and second game, because I was in Banjul. I went, attended the third game, and then came back. And then when the Gambia qualified to the round of 16, then I went back there and attended that game and the quarterfinal. So to say I stayed my entire time in AFCON is not real. It's just at that moment when I'm there, the media attention is there, and so people see it and they think I have been there. I was there from the beginning. No, when the flight was taking fun and everybody, I was in Banjul. You know, so that's one thing. The other thing is AFCON is a completely different thing. There is a national organizing committee that I was chairing as Minister of Sports. The president of the Gambia Football Federation was the vice chairperson. And by virtue of my chairpersonship of the NCC, I have a key role in the AFCON, not just as a minister. And so, supervising all those things that were happening also means that I can be there. But like I said, I wasn't there all throughout. And people talk about these things. How much effort do they make to understand whether other ministers are there or not? Because every time we were playing, what was the country? Mauritania. Not Mauritania, I didn't see that. The other one, Mali, I think. The minister was sitting right. We were sitting together. When we were playing with Cameroon, maybe one can say that's where it was, but he was there. You know, when Tunisia was playing, the minister was there. Senegal, the minister was there. So it depends on what time they come in and out. But I know, yes, people want to make issues out of everything, but I never stayed in AFCON for the whole period. I was just there for a few days. In fact, attended the match. The next day I left and came, and then went back again. And then we eventually came up. But like I said, NCC was different. And that's why the NCC, I never took up a deal. Nobody is going to say our Bakary was paid this much. Not anywhere in the records. Not government, not GFF, not anywhere. Because all of us agreed that as NCC members, we were going to be paid €1,000 across the board for everyone. And all the funds that were there, media houses, the security, Red Cross, were paid €500 for everyone. That is across the board. So it's like I said, it's not, sometimes people talk about these things, you don't sit down to start explaining these things, but the fact that they're using it as an issue, yes, I will answer it that way. They said I spent, I don't know, apart from AFCON, in the Birmingham, I did say, Birmingham Olympics is not just the athletics event. I've seen somebody wrote that, some people try to explain, those who know what happened in these events. There are multiple of side events that happen, because today there are a lot of things that are happening in the world of sports. Now, people don't have the time to be traveling to this man to meet him here, or come to Gambia to meet, or go to this place to meet. So what they do is they wait for these big events where all these sport associations, all the agencies will meet, and then they will organize meetings. Like the Commonwealth Sport Ministers meeting. It's an event that takes place every year. This time around, it happened that it's Commonwealth. They said, okay, let's just tie it together. So when the ministers are here for the Commonwealth, then we can do the Commonwealth meeting. The technical meeting of the senior government official meeting, also the same thing. The anti-doping agency did use the opportunity to organize, because they have most of these people there. You know, the British government also have issues that they want to discuss sometimes with government officials. Because they are hosting, they line it up. In fact, my meeting with the Minister for Africa for the UK was scheduled for the 9th. But I told them that I'm not going to be there until the 9th, because they spread those things. And I said I'll be leaving on the 8th, and she had to change her schedule and bring it to the 8th. So this is the issue that is important that people to understand. That when you see us in the tracks and go and meet athletes, or we go and watch the athletes, nothing happens in the morning. These events happen in the afternoon. There is a lot that happens in the morning. So this is it. Now, travels. I mean, I don't really travel a lot. I don't hide my travels when I travel. And again, like I said, you hide when you think you're doing the wrong thing. I have never in my imagination thought that there's anything wrong. I travel very few times. It's not always. I mean, if you look at this whole year from January to now, I only travel 4 times. So if anybody says, oh, he travels a lot, what is a lot? Is it the 4 times that's a lot? And these 4 times, they're not like a week or so. They're usually 3-4 days, maybe maximum 5 days. And it's 4 times in the whole year from January to now. So what is the a lot? But yes, because I publish what I do, and maybe unlike other people think, oh, he travels a lot. But it's not the case, and I don't even think it is the case.
You know, Bakary Badjie is a byword in the Gambia, especially among the young people.
Yeah.
So, but do you think, but many people say they're disappointed. Do you think it will have an effect, a negative effect on your future political career?
Well, I don't know if it does. What I know is some people reached out to express disappointment. Some people posted it on their social media accounts, and I accept it. I respect them. I'm not reaching out to anybody. I'm not responding to anybody on the Facebook. But some people that I have a personal relationship with called. Some that we have a relationship with, they did not call. I reached out to them. And like today, I didn't call anybody, but there are 3 people that I called today. Just 3 people, just to explain to them what has happened. Because I think I owe it to them because they contributed towards the path that I have been from my youthful age to today. So if they're disappointed, I owe it to them to explain to them. The rest, this press statement would have explained. Like I said, I wasn't going to do any live thing, but the press statement would have explained. But now that, we of course, you brought me here, so I have to say this thing. But to the young people and to any other person in Gambia who is out there, who have known me from the past, would know that financial riches was never an issue. I spent 12 years in the NGOs. There's a lot in the NGOs that if you want to enrich yourself, you will. I never did it. I spent some time in KMC. You talk to people that know me in KMC, I was much younger, and they tell you that because at one time I was the chairperson of the Finance and Audit Committee. And you talk to people privately, they will tell you the things that I went against, even today in this ministry. Okay. When I was appointed into the ministry, until today there are issues that happen, but I took my stand, tried to correct some of those things, tried to block certain things, and yes, we step on some people's toes. If you go to them, they tell you. When I was saying that I refunded money from a trip last year or this year, nobody knew about it. I was never going to talk about it. Only the people in Treasury and accounts would know. That is the person that I am. And I want those people that have that trust to believe that it's the same person that they know who has never changed. And they say, position of power, yes, maybe a minister is more powerful than all the other person that I handle. But I was program officer, head of programs of CPA for a number of years. And the NGO had funding that was coming in. And we were running those NGOs adequately to the standards that UNICEF, Child Fund, Hope International were satisfied with. Until I left, it was my job. Yeah. So to say that I can change because I am minister over a period of years, nobody sees me doing anything that is extraordinary, not wearing expensive clothes or building a house or anything. I'm just the same person. So these are just things that I said is one of the things that has happened, and yes, it has a dent on my image. I'm no doubt about it, I'm not denying that. But it's a reassurance to the people that are reasonable to understand that I am the same person that they know 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's the same back as and I have no intention to change for whatever reason.
You mentioned you're not building a house. Are you building? Do you still have that house given to you? And a few other ministers have Profit Heights. Are you building that house?
No, we are not giving up lands to Profit Heights.
That was a controversy. You remember that?
I remember.
When the place information minister said they won't return back the land. Did you return yours?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not because, again, like I said, I'm returning the money. Maybe it's not comparable.
Okay.
If it is wrong, I will return it. If I'm convinced, if I convince myself that it's wrong, I will, just like I did with the money without, hesitating to do it. But again, land allocation in this country, the laws are there. There's a procedure, there's a process that takes to allocate people land. And when you say, well, it has been happening, they say, no, you should not say that. But we all know the Fajaras and the pipelines were all allocation. Several other places are allocation. It has nothing to do with the communal land. People's land is there. They take it, family owns it, clans owns it, they sell it. Or they sell it to other people. Government have their own lands that they have a procedure to allocate. And they allocate it to private individuals. They allocate it to private people, non-Gambians who are here to do business. And they don't pay. They allocate it to ordinary Gambians. We know of journalists who have been allocated lands. We know businessmen who are allocated lands.
Not Marwali, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. We know of individuals, even market women, who are allocated lands. Okay. So it's not really a controversial issue. I don't see anything wrong in it, and that's why I kept it. But again, let's see this issue of the land. Somebody leaked out the document. Yeah. We don't even have it. What people got on Facebook, we did not. Until today, I did not have my document for that land. It's just a name. I did not see it. Well, I saw the land, they told me where it is, but I did not see any document. So,
have you visited the place?
Yes, when I was told where it is, I went there to see it.
Okay.
But it's the document that gives you authority is not with me. That's what I'm saying.
Does this give you a sleepless night? This last 2 days incident. you know, your name, like I said, you are a byword, a model for so many young people. Do you sit and say, do you have regrets and say, okay, if I had known?
Yeah, I do. I mean, to be truthful, I do. I mean, the first night, of course, yesterday was much better. The first night when this issue came up on Friday, yes, you know, it's a normal human reaction that people do when something comes up and they never expect it. And again, because I was not caught stealing, I was not caught receiving a bribe from anybody, I was not caught actually sitting for any kind of thing. I never did that. Today you talk to the people, anybody, and like I said in the press statement, people can go and investigate, not just the state, any individual. Go talk to any of these people that we have dealing with, not a contractor, not a supplier. I don't even have contact with some of those people. I have never asked for anything from anybody to do a service for anything, never in the work that I'm doing. So my conscience is clear. And of course I don't control what people think, but yes, like I said, it has happened. The way it came out in the public is still huge for anybody to be able to rectify, and it has gone far, so that alone is a problem. And yes, it affects me, my family and everybody. And I said, you know, my mother was, yesterday morning, she came and knocked on the door because somebody sent her a video, an audio, and she listened to it, and then she came, knocked the door and said, you know, what is this thing that somebody sent me? I said, what? Then I was on the phone, he said this thing about, you know, payment of money, government money. And I said, okay, when I'm done, I'll explain to you. So I know also it has a strain, some emotional issues on her, you know, which is unfortunate, because I know the first time I told her about taking a government job, you know, that was her advice to me, you know, and I still live by it, you know. But my mom knows the kind of person I am. She knows that she has not seen me do anything wrong in the past from the beginning to now, and you know, I intend to live that way. But to the other people that, you know, me, yes, I know I will overcome it eventually. But people's disappointment, that's difficult. The confidence that some people have in me, and maybe they lost it somehow, you know, I might not be able to regain it back, but like I said, I acted based on good faith and maybe a wrong judgment, but it was what every other person who has encountered that fire said it was okay.
Do you want to say, because so many people said, we are disappointed, do you want to give them an apology and tell them, look, okay, you know, Bakary, so many people, okay, he's supposed to be on a moral high ground. Yeah. Do you want to give them, do you want to say I'm sorry to those people who are disappointed?
Yeah, no, I'll tell them I'm sorry for what is seen to be wrong. Yeah. And, you know, reassure them of the same person that they know it has not changed. But again, ministers and everyone else, I guess, especially in the government cycle, operates in a way that files go through different layers of checks and different advisors, and that's why you have technicians and you have these other people. In our position, we depend so much on advice. Of course, we have minds to reason, and we can also go and verify from the documents. But like I said, because this has some international connection, and it has a connection with another sporting organization, we believe that it was right. And again, you know, I know one of them came out yesterday and said my wife was not paid money, which is fine, but the wives were there. So the wife's been there is not the wrong thing here. I think the problem that people are saying is the monetary part of it. Okay. And like I said, that is an internal arrangement that the ministry believes is right. The GNOC also believes is right. That's why the GNOC paid the money. You know, so to these people, you know, an apology, but a reassurance also that it is not like we were doing something wrong as far as the advisory is concerned.
Finally, well, some people said, you know, this document was leaked because they want to pit you as the next mayoral candidate for KMC, so some people want to taint your image. Is that the case?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know what the motive of the people are. It could be that, it could be something different. Again, and I'm not saying this thing to get people's confidence, but when you get into a place and you try to correct certain things, you try to block certain things or stop certain things, they will be looking for an opportunity to make you look bad. And maybe this is one of those opportunities that somebody have and said, well, he's been preaching about this, and then here is this one, and let me leak it out. It could be just that. It could be also political. I don't know. You know, our country is, that's the situation we are. Politics will always play into our things, but why the person did it, I don't know. I don't even know who did it. All I know is the institution where it came from by virtue of the stamp. But how it, what's the motive, I don't know. I mean, people can have their motives, they can, but like I said, there are some people that have always been on me from 2017, 2018 when I was running for, and they still continue to do it. So, but again, I'm all good. Like I said, I just wanted to assure people and fine, move on.
Finally, what do you have for the audience? What do you got to say? Tell them.
Well, maybe it will be a repetition
okay.
Of what I said. Apologies to people who felt disappointed about what I did, and some of them expressed it openly. And also reassure everyone that the task that we have set ourselves to work and do is still intact, and we will continue to do our best as far as we are occupying that position and work for the best interests of the country and the people and the sector. But again, I want to say that people can deny all they want, but there is no amount of support that we are getting now in the youth and sports sector that was there before. Never. I mean, people can talk about all these things, but government investment in sport in the last few years was never there. Be it AFCON, be it qualification for AFCON, be it the money we are spending in football, volleyball, athletics, it's never there. In fact, government was not even supporting all these Olympics and all these Commonwealth Games. This is the first time we're supporting Commonwealth Games. Last year was the first time government put in money in Olympics in over 20 years. So people can refuse that, and the results are coming. And we have the opportunity to send our people for training at excellence centers outside. And these are things that are reality. The sector is working. The NEDI, the NYSS, all of these things are coming back. So people can do their politics, but our conviction is that the ministry is being transformed. And I'm not claiming full ownership of that, but I know today I am the leader, and there are people that I work with, and we are doing well. People know Minister of Youth and Sport of a few years ago and the Minister of Youth and Sports of today. So we will continue to do our best. As far as the resources are there, yes, we will have challenges, like we always have, but we are making our efforts to ensure that the ministry does better. The rest of it, is just again to thank everyone who have reached out, showed solidarity online, offline, and again conclude by thanking everybody for the advices, and also everyone that we will continue to do our best. And if we make mistakes, we will admit it and rectify it.
I said finally, but people are saying for you to get calling for your resignation. Will you resign?
But resign for what?
But essentially for what happened?
No, let people investigate. If they found any wrongdoing, I will. I don't have a problem with that. But until something comes out that says definitely you are complicit in this and it's a fraud, I remain the minister until President Barrow decides otherwise.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, that is the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, Bakary Badjie there. Thank you so much for your time.